welcome to Phuket News TV. This is Phuket News in Review with Simon Ostheimer, the managing editor of the Phuket News, which we have another copy out this week that you can buy at all good stores for 20 baht. How you doing, Simon?
Good, thanks.
Good, good. Now, we're starting off with tourist justice at last. Tourist courts coming to Phuket.
Yeah, it's a new national government initiative. They only just opened up one in Pattaya, and they'll be opening up in like the major tourist hotspots around the country. And so one is now coming to Phuket, due to open next week. A tourist court essentially is a way for tourists to have if they have a grievance or they're in an accident or some kind of dispute, they can have their case heard very quickly in the tourist court, even sometimes as quick as the next day after the event. And the idea is that they can get compensation quickly. So they're not involved in a court case that could drag out for months or even years, or be forced to fly back here to give evidence and so forth. So it's a way, hopefully, for tourists to get quick justice.
Yeah, right. And do you think a lot of cases before that have maybe dragged out, or people haven't bothered, pursuing anything legally because of the money and the costs involved? But this will obviously help that.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a good thing for the image of Phuket because before it's been well-intentioned by the courts and the police, but just procedurally, things just take a while. Yeah. So this is going to speed things up and hopefully, get a lot more cases resolved.
Okay, well, so the next big news story of the week.
Big online.
Yes, caught on film in a bit of a sex romp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scandalous.
Yeah.
And not just a monk, but an abbot. And he was caught basically naked with the wife of a businessman, and the businessman suspected his wife was seeing somebody else, didn't know who it was, set up a hidden camera in the living room and caught them, not quite in the act, but definitely without clothes.
Right. And this is like our very own Desperate Housewives on Phuket.
Yeah, well, he's stepped down from the monkhood. As you would, he's broken all of these vows. But the video is quite something, but it's been put onto sort of Thai national news, all the papers, everything. It's just a nationwide a scandal. Right. If you want to see the video, we have a link to it on our website. Not on our website, but we have a link to it.
There you go. You can watch the video at the Phuket News.
Yeah.
My mum was a nun.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but nothing like this.
She wasn't involved in anything?
She just left quietly. All right, so we're going on to another story here. The underpass, I was reading about this week, brand new underpass they're thinking of doing. Like they've done one at Central.
Yeah. Well, they haven't finished that yet. But
and the Tesco Lotus one as well, the underpass.
Coming soon.
Yeah. And now they're thinking Chalong Circle.
Well, there's one more at the top of the bypass road where it meets Sept, and that's going to be the third. That's definitely going to be built. And this is now they're looking at Chalong Circle, notorious traffic hotspot.
Yeah.
Rush hour is terrible there if you've ever been through, and it's backed up all the way to Rawai practically.
So how is this going to
Well, they're looking at multiple options. They haven't decided on what they're going to do, and they haven't decided when it's going to happen. They still need funding to do it. Yeah. So it's in the planning stages. They have 9 different options.
9 different options?
9 different options, variations. Some involve tunnel going directly from Visit Road up to Chao Phraya West, other ones to Chao Phraya East, or some going... Anyway, multiple options. Yeah. And they need to look at all of them, and they need to sort of get the public on board and decide which is going to be the most feasible and the most reasonable.
Yeah.
But good that they're finally looking at it.
Definitely, but look forward to a lot of traffic for another 2 years.
Well, if you think Central Festival's bad, when they start building underpass at Chalong Circle, you might want to move.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, rent's going to get cheaper. All right, so page 7 of the Phuket News this week, bit of an article on drinking problems and Alcoholics Anonymous on the island. Yeah. Quite interesting read.
Yeah, it's one of our Phuket focuses. This one written by Claire, and she sat down with a couple of local members of the Alcoholics Anonymous of Phuket, the AA, basically about how they came to stop drinking. And both of them had sort of very familiar stories to tell, I think, for a lot of expats living here. It was just so easy to access alcohol. It was not frowned upon to be at the bar every single night.
No one cares what you do.
No one cares. Yeah, it's a lot of freedom in that respect, but because there is no sort of public concern about your behaviour, it's very easy to do, and you can sort of descend into alcoholism.
Yeah.
For both of these guys, they kind of caught themselves before it was too late and been sober for a long time. But yeah, we look at kind of the ease of access to alcohol in Phuket, the dangers of it, and if you do decide that you've had enough, or it's affecting your own person and sort of your relationship with others, there's something you can do about it.
Yeah, there is access to Alcoholics Anonymous.
The great quote that I love from this, and I've highlighted it here in the layout, was one of the AA members that coming to Thailand was like a free-for-all. There was drink, girls, and no one cared what you did. Every night was like New Year's Eve.
That's a good night.
And that, I think that does sum it up for a lot of people.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I've talked to a lot of expats that find themselves retiring here even, a lot of the retirees, and they find that they've got nowhere to, they've got nothing to do with their time, and so they find themselves in this sort of
drawn into this easy bar scene.
Yeah. But these guys are quite young, or is this focusing on two foreigners who have retired
they're
here?
Different. No, they're different ages. One guy actually, he quit drinking when he was, I believe, 26.
26, yeah.
But he kind of arrived here and just got straight into that party scene, and then just decided, you know, I want to do other things. I want to see life in a different light. The other guy, he was actually, it was his wife who brought it to his attention. She said, if you don't stop drinking, I will leave you.
Yeah.
And he kind of had that shock of realizing how bad it had become. So a very good read, and as I say, I think there will be a lot of people who can relate to it.
Right, yeah, and those meetings are held in Surin, Shillong, Phuket Town and Patong as well.
Yep, full information at the end of the story.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so we're going over to life this week, always in the Phuket news. This week you've got a lot in life as well, a bug's life.
Yeah.
It's about a bit of a vintage car collector.
Yeah, a local lady on the island. She grew up, her dad was a vintage car collector, and then so when she started working, she had a bit of money, so she started collecting Vespas, vintage Vespas, and then eventually moved on to cars of her own. And we just sat down with her and talked about, like, you know, her obsession with vintage cars, why she loves them so much, and
why does she love them so much?
I think it's the character that they have that you don't get sort of with modern cars. You know, they have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And this is her 1967 Beetle bug that she actually drove down from Bangkok all the way here, and it's completely vintage inside. She does actually have aircon. That's the one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know she's not a true hardcore. But in terms of like the radio, stereo system, you know, mechanized windows, none of that at all. It's all exactly as it was when it rolled off the production line. Yeah.
So she wasn't in Herbie, was she?
No, I don't think so. Didn't ask her that though.
All right, and going back in the life section of the Phuket News this week, but wait, there's more. We all know Tim Shaw, favourite Australian icon, especially for me actually growing up in the 90s. You saw him on, you know, the Demtel ads and the selling, like he sold over, 1 million steak knives. Yeah. So we talked to him this week as well. Yeah,
well, he's an interesting guy. To be honest, I didn't actually know who he was before I met him, because I think he's very well known in Australia, where you're from, but outside of the country, not so much. So kind of it was good because I didn't have any kind of preconceptions, or, you know, he wasn't this icon or someone that I could relate to. Just wanted to understand his story. So in this interview, actually done by Jodie, so talk about all that, the background and kind of what's brought him to live in Phuket.
And he's now the Thai Channel 7 correspondent for Australia.
That's right, yeah. But for Australians living in Phuket, certainly you're going to be seeing Tim Shaw around the island, so plenty of chance to annoy him with his catchphrase.
Yeah, I've already seen a lot of reactions from seeing Tim Shaw as well. People's eyes are lighting up, especially if they're from Australia and they remember him from the ads as well, going, wow, it's Tim Shaw. And I'm sure he's sick of the phrase, but wait, there's more.
But he also made his millions off it, so you can't complain too much.
Well done, Tim. So you'll be seeing more of him around. And also, in the food section this week, we're going, we bring a bit of Persia to the island, to Phuket.
Yeah.
And that would be, I've gone past it, here we go, a Taste of Persia in Patong. This sounds really interesting.
The Phuket dining scene, the culinary scene, is just growing leaps and bounds, especially the last couple of years. You're seeing all sorts of restaurants opening up and all sorts of cuisine coming to the island.
And a lot more from the Middle East.
Yeah, a lot of variety across the board. I mean, also Russian restaurants you're seeing springing up everywhere, Chinese, Korean. It's great for us living here. So this was a focus on a Persian and Iranian restaurant in Patong, or Casablanca, and just an introduction to some of the dishes that they serve, traditional dishes, and the food in general.
Right, yeah, nice. And obviously in the dining section every week there is the dining guide as well. That about wraps it up. But thank you so much once again, Simon Ostheimer, for joining us here on the Phuket News TV.
Thank you for having me, Kirsty.
And we'll see you next time.